Jake, after dealing with all the usual stresses of work and life lately, what's the first thing that pops into your mind when you really need to take a break from your daily routine and just get away from everything for a while?
Honestly, the idea of packing a bag and heading somewhere new always comes to mind first, because it just feels like the best way to clear my head and recharge for the weeks ahead without any pressure.
I know exactly what you mean, because sometimes even a short escape can make such a big difference in how you feel when you return to everything and start your normal life again.
Yeah, and it doesn't always have to be far away either, as long as it gives you that fresh perspective on things and helps you see the bigger picture once more.
For all our listeners tuning in today, Jake and I wanted to dive into a topic we both enjoy a lot, which is sharing stories about our favorite holidays and what really makes those trips stand out in our memories over time.
It's one of those conversations that always brings back good feelings, and I think many people have their own special ones they love to talk about too, when they get the chance.
To get us started, my favorite holiday has to be the week I spent exploring Santorini in Greece a few years back, because the whole place felt like something out of a postcard, with those white buildings and deep blue sea views everywhere you looked.
Santorini sounds like such a classic choice, and I can see why it would stand out. What drew you there in the first place? Or was it more of a last-minute decision that just happened to work out perfectly?
It was actually something I had been dreaming about for ages after seeing photos online. And once I got there, I spent most days just relaxing on the black sand beaches and watching those incredible sunsets that everyone raves about all the time.
The sunsets must have been worth the trip alone, because they are famous for a reason. Did you stick to one area or move around the island a bit during your stay to see more of it?
I stayed in one main town, but took a few day trips to smaller villages, and the boat tour around the island was probably the highlight because we got to see everything from a completely different angle out on the water, which was really special.
A boat tour sounds like a perfect way to take in the scenery without rushing, and it probably gave you a much better sense of the whole place and how it all fits together.
We stopped at this volcanic beach with black sand that felt so unique under my feet. And then we swam in these natural hot springs right in the sea, where the water temperature changed so suddenly it was almost surprising in the best way possible.
Hot springs in the middle of the ocean? That must have been an unforgettable experience for sure, and I bet it felt really relaxing after being out in the sun all day.
It really was, and later that afternoon I even tried snorkeling for the first time, which turned out to be much easier than I expected, once I got comfortable with the equipment and started to enjoy it.
How did the snorkeling go overall? Were there lots of fish, or was it more about the clear water itself that made the whole thing so memorable for you?
There were so many colorful fish swimming right below me that I could hardly believe it. And the water was crystal clear, so you could see straight down to the rocks and plants on the seabed without any trouble at all during the whole time.
I can picture you getting excited every time a new fish appeared in front of your mask, because that kind of moment is hard to forget once it happens.
I definitely did, and the whole trip helped me unwind in a way I hadn't experienced in years. You know, just letting go of all the daily worries and focusing on the present moment, instead of thinking about what was waiting back home.
That's what holidays are really about, isn't it? Taking that time to step away and let everything else fade into the background for a while, so you can come back feeling refreshed.
Exactly. And one evening, I sat alone on a little terrace with some local wine, just watching the sky change colors as the sun went down, and it felt incredibly peaceful and gave me time to reflect on a few things that had been on my mind.
Those quiet moments can often be the most powerful part of any trip, and they really help you appreciate the little details that make a place special in the long run.
I did meet a few people at the guest house where I stayed, and we ended up sharing meals together a couple of evenings, which made the solo trip feel less lonely and added some nice conversations to the mix that I still remember fondly.
Solo travel can be really rewarding like that, because you end up being more open to meeting new people along the way and learning from their experiences too.
I completely agree. And during that week, I realized how much I actually enjoy my own company when I have the chance to slow down and just be with my thoughts without any distractions from daily life.
That's a valuable lesson to bring back home with you. And not everyone gets that kind of clarity on a regular holiday, so it must have been really meaningful.
One thing that really stood out was how welcoming the local people were, because they would often stop to chat about the island's history or recommend the best places to eat without any hesitation at all.
Those personal touches from locals always make a destination feel more special and memorable in the long run, and they really add to the overall experience.
For sure, and when I finally headed home, I felt completely refreshed and ready to face whatever came next with a much better attitude than before, which made the whole trip worthwhile.
It sounds like the perfect kind of recharge that sets you up for the rest of the year and helps you handle things better once you are back.
Switching over to you now, Jake. What stands out as your all-time favorite holiday from the past few years, and why does it still feel so special to you today?
Mine has to be the 10-day camping trip I took with a group of close friends to the Canadian Rockies, because the whole experience felt completely different from any other trip I've done in the past.
The Rockies are supposed to be breathtaking, and I can imagine why it would be your favorite. What was it about that particular trip that made it your favorite over everything else you have done?
The combination of daily hiking through incredible mountain scenery and then camping under the stars each night created memories I still think about all the time, even now.
Did anything unexpected happen during the camping part that turned into a good story later on and made the trip even more memorable for everyone involved?
One night, a sudden rainstorm hit, and our tent started leaking in a couple of spots. So we spent hours huddled inside telling old stories until the weather cleared up again and we could go back outside.
That probably brought everyone closer together, though, even if it wasn't the most comfortable night at first. And it sounds like it turned into a fun bonding experience.
It really did. And once the rain stopped, we built a big fire and roasted marshmallows while looking up at the clear sky full of stars, which was absolutely beautiful.
That sounds like a classic camping memory, and something you would tell your friends about for years. Did you come across any interesting wildlife while you were out on the trails during the day?
We spotted several deer early one morning and even saw a moose from quite a distance away. So being that close to nature was something else entirely and really made the trip special.
The hiking must have been pretty demanding at times, with all those steep paths. Were the trails as rewarding as people say they are when you finally reach the top?
Some of them were definitely challenging with steep climbs, but reaching the top and seeing those panoramic mountain views made every step worth it in the end, and we all felt accomplished.
Besides the hiking, did you try any other activities like water sports or something similar during the trip that added to the adventure?
We spent one afternoon kayaking across this stunningly clear lake, and the water was cold, but it felt so refreshing after a long day on the trails, which was a nice change of pace.
Kayaking in the mountains sounds amazing and probably gave you a different view of the landscape. Any other surprises during those water outings that stood out?
We saw a pair of eagles circling overhead while we paddled, which added this incredible natural touch to the whole afternoon and made it even more special.
How did you organize the trip overall? Was it mostly planned in advance or more spontaneous with room for changes along the way?
We planned the main route ahead of time, but left plenty of room for changes because the drive up from the city was part of the adventure with music and frequent stops to enjoy the views.
Road trips like that always seem to create their own special moments, and I bet those stops added a lot to the experience. Did you stop anywhere particularly memorable along the drive?
There were a few roadside diners where the food was surprisingly good, and we met some friendly locals who gave us tips about hidden trails that we would never have found on our own.
Any standout food experiences from the actual camping part of the trip that you still talk about with your friends?
The best meal was the fresh trout we caught in a stream one evening and cooked over the campfire because it tasted better than anything from a restaurant and felt really rewarding.
Cooking your own catch must have felt really satisfying after spending the day outdoors and connecting with nature in that way.
It was one of those moments that made the whole trip feel authentic and connected to the environment around us, which is hard to find in everyday life. I can understand why this one ranks so high for you, because it seems like it offered the perfect mix of adventure and peaceful downtime that everyone looks for on a holiday. That's exactly it. And we had enough excitement to keep things interesting, but also plenty of quiet time to just enjoy being together without any distractions.
Do you think trips like these change how you approach everyday life once you're back home again and start your normal routine?
They really do, because after coming back from the Rockies, I started noticing nature more, even in the city, and joined a weekend hiking club with some of the same friends to keep the feeling going.
That's a nice way to keep the feeling alive and bring some of that energy back into your daily life. For me, after Santorini, I tried cooking a few Greek dishes at home to bring back some of those flavors.
How did the cooking experiments turn out in the end? And did you manage to get the recipes right after a few attempts?
Most of them were pretty successful once I got the recipes right, and the moussaka took a couple of tries before it came out the way I remembered from the island, but it was worth the effort.
It always seems like the more complicated dishes need that extra practice before they feel natural, and you can make them without thinking too much.
What do you think really makes a holiday end up being someone's favorite? Is it more about the destination or the people you share it with during the trip?
I believe it's a combination of both, because the place creates the backdrop, but the people you experience it with turn those moments into lasting stories that you remember for years.
I feel the same way, and even though my trip was solo, the brief connections I made with other travelers added something special to the experience that made it more enjoyable.
It's interesting how holidays can bring out sides of your personality that don't always show up in daily life when you are in your usual environment.
Like being willing to try activities or foods you might normally avoid when you're at home in your comfort zone, and sticking to what you know.
Right. And before that Rockies trip, I never imagined I'd enjoy sleeping in a tent, but now it's one of my favorite ways to travel and explore new places.
The same thing happened with snorkeling for me, because it opened up a completely new interest that I never expected to have, and now I look for opportunities to do it again.
Have you ever had a holiday where things didn't go according to plan, but it still ended up being worthwhile and even better than expected?
More than once, actually. And one time my flight got delayed for several hours. So instead of getting frustrated, I decided to treat the airport like a mini adventure and explore what was around me.
That sounds like a smart way to handle it, and probably turned a frustrating situation into something positive. Did you discover anything interesting while you were wandering around?
There was a small art exhibition near my gate that I would have missed otherwise, and it turned the whole delay into something positive and memorable that I still think about sometimes.
Finding the silver lining in those situations is always a good skill to have when traveling, and it helps you stay positive no matter what happens.
It really is. And sometimes those unplanned moments end up being the ones you remember the most fondly later on when you look back at the whole experience.
I had a similar experience once when a train connection fell through, and we had to spend an extra day in a small town we hadn't planned on visiting at all.
What ended up happening during that extra day, and did it become one of the highlights of the trip for you?
We discovered a beautiful local market and spent hours exploring without any schedule, which made it one of the most relaxed parts of the whole journey and really enjoyable.
Those kinds of detours often teach you to stay flexible and open to whatever comes your way, which is a useful lesson for travel and life in general.
They really do. And being flexible is probably one of the most useful skills you can develop as a traveler, because plans can change at any moment.
Looking back on both our trips, holidays give you that important chance to recharge your batteries, meaning you get your energy and motivation back for everything waiting at home when you return.
And they also give you those stories and photos that you can look back on whenever you need a little reminder of good times and positive memories.
My Santorini pictures still make me smile every single time I scroll through them on my phone because they bring back all those wonderful feelings from the trip.
The same goes for my Rockies photos, and a few of them are even framed on the wall in my living room as a daily reminder of that amazing time.
If you could return to one of those places tomorrow, which one would you choose? And why would you pick that particular destination again?
It would be tough to decide, but I think I'd pick the Rockies again for another round of hiking and that feeling of being completely surrounded by nature in such a beautiful setting.
For me, it would definitely be Santorini, maybe during a different season, so I could experience the island in a new way with fewer crowds and a different atmosphere.
That makes a lot of sense, because the time of year can completely change the atmosphere and activities available at any destination you visit.
At the end of the day, these kinds of holidays remind us how important it is to slow down every now and then and really notice the small, beautiful details around us that we often miss in daily life.
Like sharing a meal with new friends, watching a perfect sunset, or simply sitting quietly in an amazing setting that takes your breath away.
And they help us create those special memories that stay with us long after the trip is over, giving us something positive to carry through tougher times when we need it most.
Couldn't agree more.
because making space for these experiences is one of the best things we can do for ourselves and our overall well-being.
Whether it's a relaxing beach escape or an adventurous mountain trek, taking that time away really does wonders for our overall well-being and perspective on life in ways we don't always expect.
Absolutely. And I hope everyone listening feels inspired to start planning their own favorite holiday soon, whatever that might look like for them and their own situation.
Thanks so much for joining us on this conversation today. And remember to take those breaks when you need them, because they can make a real difference in how you feel and keep building those meaningful memories along the way.
Take care, everyone, and here's to many more unforgettable holidays in the future that bring you the same kind of joy and relaxation we have been talking about.